Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan, as always, joined by Callum and Alan this week. How you going?
Good. I'm happy to be here.
This is a special episode, a mini episode, we'll say, focused on the Five Nights at Freddy's film.
Yes.
Which me and Alan have seen. Callum has not seen.
Callum hasn't seen?
I saw parts of it.
Yes, he did.
He had to go to bed because he gets up for work.
He has an early bedtime sometimes. Yes. That's okay.
Yeah, I also just wasn't particularly hyped for this one.
I mean, no one's
hyped.
No, unless you're like like a kid,
yeah,
or maybe an adult that's enjoyed the franchise. No one's really hyped. Even if you're an adult that's enjoyed the franchise, you're probably wary about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole kind of PG-13 or M-rated, kind of only just rated M kind of horror film. It's like you're always a little bit wary because which lane is it? You know, is it a kids movie? Is it a horror movie?
Oh, look, no.
When they try to mar the two, it always ends up being a bit muddy.
Horror inherently can't be kid-friendly, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree,
right.
Yeah.
Look, the franchise has always just been aimed at a younger audience, and, I'm not hating on any adults who might enjoy it. I know there's a whole renaissance of adults enjoying younger activities at the moment, including cartoons, video games, and such. So it's like it's like a part of a broader movement of adults enjoying what you might call purer content.
Yeah,
which I've talked about off air a bunch of times. I don't want to, bore the audience with my ramblings about, purity and all this shit that's going on. But Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror franchise that's never really enticed me because, it's kind of low intensity.
It's kind of, it straddles a line between being a horror game and also being a kids game.
Yeah.
And that's a hard line to kind of manage.
It is. Again, like we said, when you're dealing with themes of like death and I guess scariness and ghosts, kids don't really fit the frame very well.
No,
you can do stuff like Casper, that sort of thing. I'm not saying there's no ghosts and death and
Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, but it's usually much more lighthearted.
Scooby-Doo is a great example of like kids horror done well.
Yeah. But Five Nights at Freddy's is a weird one because it tries to balance the two, being an actual horror franchise, but also appealing to kids.
Yeah.
And somehow it's worked. I haven't played the video games myself.
I have played number one, and I haven't continued on because I don't know, what was there, 5 games at one point?
Oh man, there's now a VR game that's new, and it's
basically gained huge popularity from the first game.
Yeah.
And the creator, I guess, cashed in on that and decided to continue the train. And as I think Jake, who's a big fan of the franchise, puts it, is there was a semblance of a storyline at the beginning. But it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't anything extravagant and huge. It wasn't like there's like twists and all that jazz. It was just a little basic storyline about a haunted kids. What do you call it?
Like a Chuck E. Cheese
Chuck
kind
E. Cheese,
of analog, like a child's entertainment venue with a restaurant.
There are 9 games at the moment in the whole.
Jesus.
Not all of them are numbered canonical Freddy games, but in the actual canon, there's 9 games.
Well, you got to keep that money printed.
And the first game's principle at least was you're basically the security guard. You can watch some cameras, and you got some power to doors, and you have to make sure that nobody breaks in. Nobody ever breaks in. The issue there is the animatronics come to life, and they're trying to kill you, basically. So your goal is to make sure if they come around, you shut the doors on them, and they don't jump scare you.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to get through 5 nights of it as this lowly security guard. There's a bit of story, obviously, in there that the animatronics are the way they are because there's some murdering kids and putting into animatronics and this and that.
Also, we'll say spoiler alert for Five Nights at Freddy's, I guess.
If you're watching the review, you've probably seen it. But that's where we'll kind of leave it in terms of the game. The movie itself is supposed to be...
But again, it's straddles that weird line. It's already a weird line for the video game to manage, let alone a film.
Yeah.
Translating any game to a movie adaptation is always a tough ask.
Definitely.
And this already being a difficult kind of genre or a difficult kind of title with its themes is already like kind of a tough ask to kind of translate to any other medium, right?
Yes. Yeah.
To appeal to horror fans and kids at the same time is always going to be a difficult task. Does the movie manage it? Yes and no.
Yes and no. Yeah, not perfectly.
Not perfectly,
Yeah.
and we'll get into the reasons why. But I guess we'll just start. So, what's the security guard's name again?
The security guard's name is Mike Schmidt. So Mike Schmidt is played by Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger Games, most popularly, I say, and a few, obviously, definitely other films. We got also Matthew Lillard. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Yeah.
He plays the job counselor.
And we've got Piper Rubio. I don't believe she's been in much before. So she's a relatively young new actor. Who is
Yes.
she plays Amy Abby Schmidt, who is obviously Mike's younger sister that he's taking care of. And then I think then we have Elizabeth Lale playing Vanessa Monroe, who is a police officer. That's predominantly the main cast that we're dealing with. It's a relatively small casted film.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing if they manage it well. And I think they managed it the best they could, I think.
Yeah.
Like the kind of the crux of the story is that, our boy Mike, he needs a job desperately because of his anger issues. He keeps getting fired from jobs, for beating members of the public up.
Yeah.
And he finds himself in Matthew Lillard's office, who's the kind of like
Job
just a job provider, job
Yeah.
network counselor guy. And he gets offered a security guard job at Five Nights at Freddy's, and he can't say no because otherwise he'll lose custody of his sister.
Yes.
So that's just the general setup. Obviously, now the movie then goes into kind of, why is Mike this way?
Yeah.
And the kind of tragedies that happened in his background and his kind of coping mechanisms to deal with that maybe not productive to society at large.
Yes.
And job prospects.
And job prospects, definitely job prospects. And also what's actually going on at this Freddy's, what's it called? What's the actual restaurant called? Or
Freddy's something pizzeria.
Yeah. Basically the Chuck E. Cheese again.
Yeah.
But what is it? Family Entertainment Center? Or is it? No, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Yeah, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Yes. So I think we can pretty quickly get into spoilers. Again, if you played any of the games, it kind of builds on that story. It is, I believe, supposed to be independent technically.
Yeah, it's a standalone film.
Standalone film, but obviously it has the characters from the movies, that sort of thing. It tries to tell a story. I think it does
There's
an okay job.
There's an interesting movie here unrelated to the pizzeria that me and Alan enjoyed
Yes.
specifically.
And we'd like to discuss that, I think, a little more.
So, kind of Mike's background is more interesting than the pizzeria aspect of it. It's a background of kind of like he uses lucid dreaming or kind of some dream therapy to try and uncover what happened to his little brother when he was a young child.
Yes.
And involves stuff like child abduction and kidnapping and kind of like there's a serial killer on loose, all that kind of stuff, which you would expect from a normal kind of more mature horror film. And then obviously he's dealing with that while also working at the pizzeria, the abandoned pizzeria.
Yeah.
That part of it is a much more interesting film than the kind of the animatronic kind of horror stuff, I feel.
I definitely agree. Maybe it's just because of, obviously, we're
adults.
And we're also not, I guess, huge fans of the original franchise. I think maybe for the kids, or I'm not going to say kids, but younger individuals who got into the games because of whatever hype, maybe they're more interested in the animatronics side of things.
And I can understand that. That's the aspect for the kids. That's their like, oh look, I know that one, and that kind of element of it, like that. I know that killer animatronic animal. He's my favorite.
I got a plushie.
Also, there's also the celebrity YouTube cameos or whatever.
Yes. Good old Mad Pat. Yeah. Look, the film definitely wasn't perfect. I think I gave it about a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 5 to,
what
to
did I
2.5. I think you said 2.5 out of 5.
I think 2.5. It lost a lot of points for conflicting tone, I believe. What did I say? Hold on, I've got my review. Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
So basically,
I feel like that 2.5 is fair for me.
Mike Schmidt. We start off. He's at a mall and he sees a gentleman approach a child, kind of pull the child away against the child's will, and that, I guess, triggers something in him.
Yeah.
So he chases the gentleman down and beats him to a pulp. And it turns out the gentleman was the child's father.
And the kid didn't want to leave the mall.
And the kid was obviously just being a kid. And so he loses his job.
Rightly so. He should be in prison.
Yeah, he should. You
can't even beat kids in public anymore.
He was beating
he was beating the dad, not the kid.
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
that's another movie, okay.
Yeah, sorry. That was a flub on my
loses
part.
his job. Obviously, you then find out that he has a little sister, Abby Schmidt, who he's taking care of. And obviously, him being a relatively young adult and her being a child without any other parental figure, there's a bit of a custody issue going on.
And she has her own sort of mental health issue going on in the story as well. And
Yes.
they're already kind of like, well, she's already struggling. How can she also be staying with her brother who's also having issues? So it's like
it's not a home conducive to a young
Yeah,
child growing up
exactly.
in a healthy way.
yeah.
And so there's an aunt who's an antagonist who wants to adopt his younger sister and allegedly provide her with a better upbringing, which
Doesn't sound like an antagonist to me.
when you think about it. But obviously, Mike is against that, and Abby is against that. So she is, at least from our perspective, a bit of an antagonist there.
She's meant to be an antagonist. What she's doing is right or wrong is probably right.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things outside the movie's own sort of morality and logic.
Which is kind of where some of our problems also stem
Yeah.
from. And you also get Mike Schmidt taking the job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and starting his night shifts, and things getting, I guess, haywire from there. So,
I
I
mean,
think we'll go into full spoilers and just kind of run it.
full spoilers. Look, we won't go through the whole plot, but I feel like it kind of falls apart when... Okay, so backtracking a little bit. He starts at his job, and everything's peachy keen. The robots are leaving him alone. He's not aware of their kind of presence, and he's doing his dreaming thing, and it's all going well. And then at some point, the aunt sets people up to like make him look bad.
Yes.
And then that kind of, I guess, spurs the animatronics because they're getting threatened in a way.
Yes. The animatronics are already protective of the actual pizzeria.
Yeah.
And once those people step in and I guess, trespass,
It kind of
animatronics-
awakens them.
Yeah.
They have a need to now come alive and, maybe do some killing.
Yeah, do some massacring.
Yeah, and hiding the bodies
Yeah.
and all the other things that killer animatronics do. My problem comes into it is when somehow the animatronics are actually good guys and they become friends with the animatronics.
Yeah.
That's where the movie really starts to fall apart,
Yeah.
and they have like parties with animatronics, and they're like all friends, and it's all like cuddly time, and they're not bad at all. I swears.
So Vanessa Monroe, the police officer, also love interest, just hinted at. It's implied, I feel.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's implied.
Yeah. And she comes and she's a police officer who's investigating the disappearance of those individuals. And, it's very clear that they've been massacred, at least
Yeah.
to her, as we later find out. And she's like, oh, it's fine.
I mean, this is another plot hole in this movie. All right, our boy Mike is a security guard. He should know what's going on in the building.
Yeah.
Does he just ignore the fact that there's like corpses in the back room fridge? I'm like,
He's willfully ignorant.
yeah, I'm like, this is part of your job. You're not doing a very good job, sir. If you're not aware of these events happening.
Again, also, he brings a young child, his sister, because he can't get... One of the people that trash the joint and ends up getting killed is his babysitter, Max. And so he now needs somebody as a night carer. He can't find one. So he brings a little sister to his job, which you don't bring a kid to a security gig. There's jobs you can kind of take a kid to. I'm not saying you should or you shouldn't.
I'm just saying, if the auntie was so desperate to have custody, maybe she could have watched the kid for the
Yeah.
nights.
So,
If it's about the child.
Yeah. Anyway, so obviously he takes his little sister there and she interacts with the animatronics and turns out they're actually fun people or things. And they have, as you said, they have a fun time. They dance and party and everything else.
And they set up
And-
little tents.
Yeah,
and
set up little tents. And
have like camping out in the pizzeria.
it really is jarring to, anyone watching is this supposed to be a horror film? Like,
Yeah, that's when it's like, oh, we can't make them too bad because then we'll just scare kids and the kids will get scared off the franchise because they're actually nasty things. I'm like, it's that kind of thing where if you give a 6-year-old just sees the animatronic and like, oh, look, it's a cute bear, and they think nothing further, right?
Yeah.
And but it's like when you're making a movie, you have a service to everyone. And that service needs to have like a complete plot, right? Or a complete tone, a specific tone. And when you kind of... You change the animatronics to be like, no, they're good too. Like you kind of just you're babying it for everybody. I'm like, well, no, is this a horror movie or not? Because I'm like, when you turn these kind of bloodthirsty killer animatronics into like, no, actually they're the good guys and you can have fun with them because you're pure of heart. I'm like, well, now it's just like turning into a kid's movie.
yeah. And it's
I'm
like,
like,
you can't
You're
have
also,
both.
you can't have both.
Yeah.
And you're kind of now...
It doesn't
I
change
guess-
the fact that these animatronics have killed several people.
Yeah.
At this point,
Well, that's what I was going to say. And now you're kind of also retroactively ignoring or forgetting or forgiving the actions that happened like 10, 15 minutes previously.
Because it's shown that multiple security guards have gone missing. So it's like multiple security personnel who are just there, just trying to do a job, are killed.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
it's like, it's not just the people that broke in who are technically bad guys. They've killed several innocent people, It's like, yes, their souls may be children that were abducted and kidnapped and mutilated, but at this point, they're also doing evil things.
The only way that Mike, his sister, and I guess Vanessa has a different connection to it, which we're not going to go into. The only reason that Mike and his sister are safe is because they have some sort of weird shining.
Yeah.
Essentially, and that kind of a psychic connection to these animatronics somehow, all right? And that makes them kind of safe, I guess. Otherwise, they'd all be dead by now.
Yeah, they'd all be dead, yeah.
So that's where the movie falls apart a little bit for me. It's that kind of issue where all of a sudden, it's fine right up until that point where they have like a little party. And I'm like, okay, now you're just turning it into like the kids movie where like you have to backtrack and be like, no, they're friendly. The kids are safe. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's not that scary for the kids. It's kind of being like that. No, your kids will be safe. I promise. It's like, no, well, you're just kind of just ruining the movie for everyone now.
Yeah, like
then they play the games and their kids aren't safe.
Yeah, but the kids have bought the game, so it's fine.
It's just like if it's just a few problems here and there, you can kind of forgive it. But they all just weirdly add up. Like, again, I'm not expecting 100% logic out of films. You never get it.
No.
And if you're making a film with 100% logic, you're usually losing out in some kind of creative capacity.
Yeah.
That's fair. But the whole, starts off with the aunt is alleged to want Abby because of the government check that you get for, adopting a kid or having a kid that's a dependent. And I'm like, look, this film is based in America, with all due respect. No one cares about kids.
Yeah.
Like, the social security system is terrible. I'm not trying to hate on Americans. It's a fact. They only care about the kids before they're born. Once they're born, the kid can starve.
They give the kid a gun. Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
That's it.
Welcome to freedom. And so, it's not really a strong... It obviously, it's more to push the idea that the aunt's bad and she doesn't want Abby for the right reasons.
She's definitely like that villainous kind of character where she's kind of all in it for the cash.
Exactly. Which I'm like, that's a bad way to make some cash, unless you're like smuggling the kid or something. But there's that. There's, as you said, the animatronics doing all the shenanigans.
Let's just actually highlight the animatronics were actually practical.
The practical animatronics themselves, excellent. The fact that they're being kids and having fun.
The plot side of it's weird. The actual production value is very good.
Yeah,
we can't complain about everything.
The like horrendous lack of policing by Vanessa Monroe.
Yeah, that's it. Technically, she's a cop, but
there's like dead people in the.
Also, keep in mind, in America, police are scary, so that's another horror element that they have to kind of restrain a bit. She's dressed like a she's dressed like a cop, but she's not a real policeman. Don't worry.
But like, it's just the aunt ends up getting killed by the animatronics, who venture out of the pizzeria into somebody's house.
They take a taxi.
Yeah, which there's again these when you add these problems up, it overall kind of reduces that movie experience.
Yeah, because that's another kind of flaw. Look, again, without Jake here, it's harder for us to kind of know what's a plot hole and what's not. But surely, if they can leave the pizzeria, then why are they still at the pizzeria?
Yeah, why are they still at the pizzeria?
You know what I mean? If they're bound to that location from whatever mystical forces kind of trap them there or trap the souls, like, why hasn't this been resolved already?
Exactly. A positive point I think we will talk about now is the B plot that kind of converges into the A plot eventually, is the story that why Mike Schmidt is the way he is. It's his, at a family picnic, when at a young age, he had a younger brother who got abducted.
Mystic River style too. Have you seen that film?
No.
The way the kid looks out the back of the car, it's like out of Mystic River. It's awesome.
Being taken away.
It's awesome. You should watch that film. It's great.
And that kind of causes his parents to, I think
it broke his family.
Yeah, it broke his family. And eventually they did have a younger child, his sister, but both the parents are implied to have passed. And it's them taking care of each other. Hence why he's so protective of children. Why at the starting scene, you see him decide to deliver a beatdown on an unsuspecting father who's maybe being a little too aggressive with his son, which he thought was a child abduction. But Cooley they hint at a little book that he has about basically using dreams to, I guess, resurface memories and go back into memories and kind of find details. Yeah. Which, you think is, it's a little interesting. Because the first time he has a dream, you don't realize that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He has a dream that reminds him of his brother's abduction. Then you find out it's actually him utilizing a system
It's like
basically-
lucid dreaming,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah,
He-
where
he
he's
built-
cognizant that he's in a dream
Yeah.
while in that dream.
He builds himself the
Yeah.
memory using a poster and some sounds, so that he specifically goes back into that memory.
It's like what do they call it? There's a word for it. Like memory hints. Like it brings you back to that location.
Yeah.
Sensory.
Sensory clues, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But he's using those basically to revisit the scene where his brother was abducted, to maybe get like a number plate or like the face of a person or a name or something that he can use to then find whoever took his brother, even though it's been a long time at this point. It's very much understood that his brother's dead. But at the very least, it's that want for justice.
Is that
and
not knowing as well? It's that kind of what happened.
And that, if that was used in like a regular kind of horror film, or even just a horror film, just a thriller film, that'd be great.
No,
That's a
that's
great
what I
plot.
said. There's a good movie in
Yeah.
here. It's just that the Freddy Fazbear's ruins it.
Yeah, it's just it's implied that the guy who abducted all the children and killed them and put them in the animatronics was the same guy that abducted Mike's brother, who also ends up being Matthew Lillard's character.
Yeah.
So he's not only the recruiter, he's also the
So he's the guy that gets the security guards in the building to begin with, so he can then have them killed.
which I think I personally probably would have had a different recruiter guy.
Yeah, I think
Like-
that they need that kind of gotcha surprise
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
end, where it's like, well, okay, cool, I guess.
And
Which
yeah.
we should have seen from the beginning, because why else would they have Matthew Lillard in like such a small bit part
Yeah,
if they're not going to do something with him later? See, that's something we should have thought right at the beginning of the movie. We're like, he's the killer. You know what I mean? Because like, why else would they have a name? The
Yeah.
kids might not know who he is, but we know who he
we
is.
know who he is. Yeah, and it's to Matthew Lillard. He knows Mike as Mike Schmidt specifically because he also kidnapped Mike's younger brother, and obviously abused him, tortured him, killed him. And again, if we were just dealing with that kind of story, I reckon it'd be a pretty damn good story. Then there's weird animatronics. He's also wearing an animatronic suit.
The rabbit suit, which
Yeah.
is a cool design,
Yeah.
but I don't know why it's necessary.
No, yeah. I don't see why the rabbit suit was necessary for him either. But he does decide to wear it, I guess. And, he I guess, has a unyielding control over the rest of the animatronics.
He has the shinning as well.
Yeah. So he makes them do things that they don't necessarily want to do. And then he, in a way, wipes their memories.
Which is not really explained. I mean, maybe it's explained in the games, his psychic control.
Yeah. And that's, again, parts of the confusion of like, well, why are they listening to him if they're, they're kids and they want to be saved or protected or whatever. But yeah, it is what it is. So he has this control. He makes them do things and then he wipes their memories and they think he's a great guy when he's not. Until it's at the end revealed that he was,
He's a bad guy all along. Yeah.
Abby's power of drawing, saves the
Yeah.
day. It tells them that that's what he was doing to them and they decide that they're going to exact revenge on him. Which again, these kids aren't good. Like, obviously the souls have been tormented and twisted.
Yeah.
But again, it just clashes so much with, we're going to have a party.
Yeah,
And then-
that's at the end of the day. The movie doesn't know what it wants to be.
Yeah.
Does it want to be like a kids film or a horror movie? Because you have it. What is it? Holding two opposing views at once. What's
Cognitive
that?
dissonance.
The movie is cognitive dissonant, right? Cognitively dissonant, I should say. Where it's like, yeah, you have these robots being like, no, they're good guys. Look, we'll just draw them being good guys and they become good guys. Well, it's like, no, they've already killed all these people. They've already had the scares. It's like, well, you're just muddying the waters of the movie now.
Yeah.
And that's generally, I think that's our big problem with it. It doesn't know what it wants to be. And it could be a good movie if they picked a lane. Obviously, if they picked the kids version, it wouldn't be for us. If they picked the horror version, it could have been a much better horror movie.
It could have been, yeah. It's just,
Because there's some good stuff in there.
I guess they knew as well that kids were going to go see it.
Yeah. But
Regardless.
but also, that's not their problem.
That's not
man.
their
The
problem.
movie has a rating. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Like, if you push it to MA-15, you've got a lot more license to do
Yeah.
more horror themes.
Yeah, but,
But then you lose out on a core part of the audience. which
No,
would be
the kids will
children.
still go see it. But
Yeah,
then the
no, I
parents
know,
would
I'm-
complain. It's the Deadpool
Yeah.
problem or the
Yeah.
Ted problem.
Yeah.
Kids go to see it. There was a Marvel movie. Why is there swearing? Ma'am, the movie's rated MA or R, whatever it is. Don't bring
Yeah.
your kid to see it,
Don't
please.
take your kids.
There's always going to be that issue. There's always that issue with like Marvel movies like Deadpool or Seth MacFarlane's Ted, where it's like you have something cozy and cuddly that's not nice, and then
Yeah.
the movie still makes $100 million.
Yeah.
But parents get upset. But then the answer to that is you read the rating. It's not like the movie's fault.
Yeah, did you not watch the trailer?
Yeah. It's like it's same thing with kids playing Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty. Should they know?
Yeah.
Be a better parent.
Be a parent.
Should they know? Do they still market children's Call of Duty merchandise? Yes.
Yes, but it's very clear on the front of the cover. You know, it's made very clear that it says, in Australia at least, it says R18. In the US, I believe it's obviously not
Yeah.
the same. It's MA equivalent. But, you know, you can't expect the world to cater to your children when you're given information up front that this probably isn't for your kid, and you say it's fine.
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
At that point, you're responsible.
Yeah.
You know.
That's that's a different conversation for a different episode. But I think that's kind of the core of the problem as well. It's the movie industry.
Yeah.
It's like they're too afraid to make the movie the way it should be made because then parents will complain.
Yeah.
But that's also not the studio's fault.
I can just imagine it. That's a movie where like this was there was none of the kids stuff.
It would have been a
It
good
would've been
movie. Like
wild,
we
yeah.
enjoyed the adult part of this film.
We did.
We just didn't enjoy the kids part. If it was all the adult part, no notes. It would have been a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately,
That's
we
a
don't
very
live in that-
different film
Yeah.
with a different purpose.
Yeah, but like again, you know, it shouldn't necessarily be a kids' film because it's
No.
not a kids' game. Just because kids play it and latch onto it doesn't mean it's aimed
Yeah.
at that audience.
I mean, it kind of is a kid's game.
What are you
Is it
trying to
though?
say?
The original game? Is it actually a kids' game though?
No, I don't feel
Or
it is.
was it just adopted by the...
It was just adopted by the kids.
I think it was just, again, the fact that it had just giant fuzzy animatronics in it. Kids were like, yay.
Well, I'm gonna look up the.
But a
rating
lot
of
of kids,
this
like,
one.
I remember I have young cousins. I remember he had some Five Nights at Freddy's stuff. And he was very, very scared of it at the same time. Like, he was scared of it, but he also liked it. It's that weird...
I'm a horror enjoyer. I know.
Yeah. But obviously, you're an adult who
Understands that emotion.
understands that emotion and maybe doesn't need to wear a diaper at night.
No.
But
hey, you don't know.
He might.
whereas, you know, if you're going to primary school and then you're waking up in the middle of the night screaming about things, maybe it's not for you. But you know, I'm not a parent. I'm not going to tell parents other parents how to parent. It's up to them, I guess. The Vanessa Monroe police officer, she's revealed to actually be the daughter of Steve Raglan, who is the guy in the bunny costume, played by Matthew Lillard. And I don't know how I feel about that relationship being real, because there's not enough of her kind of, I guess, tempting, because she obviously does do things for her father. It's implied that she's maybe helped lure kids or do that kind of stuff, and she's very well aware of what her father's doing, using this, you know, pizzeria. But at the same time, it's like, so she became a cop, but she's still keeping... Did she become a cop, I guess, to keep the father's secrets? That sort of thing?
Well, one thing to...
Again, that's what we would
This is
see
a-
in the adults version of the film.
this is a different conversation,
Yeah.
but some people join the police force because they like the sense of power that it brings, not necessarily because they want to do good in the community, especially in America, where there's that whole militarized view of things. So maybe she's just like, you know, wears a Punisher t-shirt at home and thinks, I'm going to punish some kids and some criminals.
Look, that would probably be valid, possibly in an adult version of the film, where
Even though the Punisher hates the police, but continue.
she's in on what he's doing and she's all about it, and maybe she has a change of heart at the end or something.
Yeah.
But in this, she very much is a good guy and from the get-go.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how do you, again, it's such cognitive dissonance, how do you reconcile that with the fact that she has been witness to the fact that several security guards have been murdered in here?
She knows what's going on.
Yeah. And
She knows all the secrets in the film.
yeah, if anything, she's covered it up.
Yeah.
So that the person's
she's a
body's
villain.
there. Yeah.
Essentially, yes.
But again, the film can't.
But in the movie, it feels storyline, no.
Yeah, she has that change of heart. She's like, I'm not going to let
There's
you.
that whole "but I love you" kind
Yeah.
of element. To
Does
it, where
she,
it's like, let's
does
just
she end up
ignore-
having to pay for her actions?
No, well, she gets stabbed and she doesn't die, thankfully. Oh,
And then they see her at the end, and it's just like,
No, like,
yeah.
is she arrested?
no.
No, she gets away with everything.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well, I guess there's going to be a sequel because she's going to get up to no good again.
Just for those at home who are interested, the Australian rating system for, I guess, digital games is kind of weird, right? It mostly Five Nights at Freddy's is unclassified in Australia.
Which means you can't
but
legally play it in Australia.
But the Children and Media Organisation gave it a rating. They gave it a 15+ rating.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's only people arguing on forums what it should be rated or what it's classified as. But it has no real formal classification.
Is there a
Because
US classification?
Not that I've been. I'll look that up now. But it's interesting to see that in Australia, anyway, they kind of consider it to be like a 15+ title.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got kids on the forum saying no, 9+ is okay because I'm 9.5, but that doesn't make it true.
15+ seems accurate to me.
That's how I would say it's accurate.
Yeah, because that
Just generally because it has threatening kind of.
Yeah.
because you can either
In America, it's
consider
rated-
that to be M or MA.
Yeah,
At least for us, yeah.
I'm talking about the video game.
Yeah.
But in America, it's Five Nights at Freddy's. Or that might be the film.
But in the meantime, the film itself had a budget of 20 million.
Pretty low, actually.
And it grossed 293 million.
Oh, well, it's a good day to be the maker of that video game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So-
always a good day to be whoever that guy is, but
Yeah. So it's I'd say they've done pretty well with themselves, and it probably implies that there will more than likely be more films.
probably 8 more, mate.
I don't know. Again, like, we can't recommend one way or another to watch this. If you have been a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, I think you will find an enjoyable kind of film in this.
Yeah.
In America, Five Nights at Freddy's is rated T for teen.
T15.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, you know,
Similar.
the games, even though kids do hijack these games and say they're kids'
Yeah,
games,
okay.
they're not.
They're not.
Yeah, it's a Call of Duty situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again, you know, the studio obviously wants $1, so they'll make it for the kids,
Yeah.
even though it's not for the kids.
Thankfully, it's available for streaming already.
Yes.
On Peacock.
We were able to watch it through Peacock. Obviously, you need a VPN to watch that
Yeah.
through Peacock.
If you're in Australia, but
yeah.
we've got a worldwide audience, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure we do.
So I'd say, for me, it wasn't a movie that I'd go to the movies for.
No, I'm glad we waited for streaming.
It's definitely a goofy watch on the TV.
It's only long, like 90 minutes, 100 minutes.
Yeah,
It's not overly
yeah.
long. It's it's a good kind of popcorn, have a joke about it while
Yeah.
you're watching it kind of film.
And
The movie can enjoyably point out all the plot holes.
Yeah.
So us talking about it isn't going to ruin it because
Yeah.
it's just as dumb on the film.
exactly. And again, if you've got some kids that are into Five Nights at Freddy's and they're like, hey, can we watch the movie? It's like, it's not the worst time you're going to have.
As long as they're a bit older. There
Yeah.
are some gory scenes in this
Yeah.
movie, I will say. So if you have, maybe sensitive kids.
Yeah,
then
kids
maybe-
that are at
The
least...
scene where Mike beats the dude up was pretty intense.
Yeah,
for
there are
kids.
some there are some confronting scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
So if your kid's a little bit sensitive, maybe
Yeah.
wait.
I'd say a kid that's 12 or over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a good film for them to maybe like an introduction to horror films.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a decent
Yeah.
introduction to horror
Yeah.
films.
So that,
And they
I
can
guess,
move on up to Calvet.
has that episode that have
Yeah, that's we've talked about that.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
but yeah, we can talk about it again.
yeah. I feel there's gonna be a couple more movies in between that and Calvet.
there is a
Yeah.
curve.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it wasn't a great film. But I went in there expecting not a great film. I think we all did.
Yeah. Look, I think we were slightly more impressed with what we thought we were going to
Yeah,
do, to be honest.
definitely. And friend of the show, Jake, who once again big Five Nights at Freddy's fan, he also watched it. He did enjoy it, and he agreed with like the problems that we were seeing in it.
Yeah, it's just the tone. The movie has a lot of tonal problems.
Yeah,
But, there is a good movie under there somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we can rewrite it one day.
That's
And
it.
if you do agree that this movie has a good undercurrent going on, and you haven't seen Mystic River, and you're of an age where you can appreciate Mystic River, I do recommend giving that a go. Clint Eastwood handles similar subjects as
Oh,
a
yeah.
director. Yeah, it's a really interesting drama mystery movie.
I reckon that's all the time we got
Yeah.
for today.
Thanks for enjoying the extra crispy episode.
Yeah, just a special little episode.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Please like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page, Instagram page, Twitter page, Threads page, Newsmast page, and Blue Sky page at Tuesday Review AU and the YouTube.
Yes. And tune in for the next crispy episode, once again without James, which will be on Zack Snyder's Justice League. So,
James might want to be here for that one.
I don't know. He decides he doesn't want to watch it, then we'll watch it and we'll review it. That's what we do. We do things that James doesn't. That's what we do for the listeners. So, adios, cousins.